Hey, Penny boy, I'm gonna have to send you back soon. I'm gonna miss you. You're going back to Camera Canada, where they raise kittens and send them off into the wild to gather deer meat for them. It's unethical, but I still shop there, and you should too. So let's talk a little bit about the reasons why. Even though I'm super impressed with this camera, we'll get to some of the joy that I've felt shooting with it over the past couple weeks. We'll talk about why I would never buy into this system, ever. That's rude.
All I want is the perfect camera. All I want is the perfect camera.
So we're on the Panasonic S5, latest firmware, kit lens, but it's a 20 to 60 interesting, innovative kit lens. So it's good. It's a decent lens. It's just when you start zooming in, the autofocus runs. It's not as good, but probably just I said as good. At least get me once. I like the colors coming out of this thing. The stabilization's decent. This is a fun wide lens with zoom capabilities, although what are you going to zoom on? It won't autofocus on anything, so. Manual focus. I'll make a whole video on these manual focus snobs. That's coming. We won't rant today. Just rest our hearts. It's a great image coming out of this camera. 180 frames per second slow-mo. If you manual focus, you can get magic. I like it. It's a good camera. I would never buy it. But if you did buy it, feel proud. I haven't had this thing really lose me much in autofocus. The only thing is it's just not very smooth, and you will, if you pay attention to the background and you zoom in on something, you'll see it. And in the trees, it's like electrocution. It's not right. It's just not right. But for the most part, it's the most reliable. It really is improved. So let's take a little trip back on memory lane. When Flat Earth Santa offered to send me the Panasonic S1, immediately I thought back to my time with the Panasonic S1H, loaned to us from Henry's. Are they still in business? Let's all go to Henry's after we burn down Camera Canada tonight. So I got that S1H in with the Panasonic 50mm 1.4 prime. That might be their best lens ever made. And the thing was reliable. In my room, I was like, holy crap, and the screen was so good I could see that it was reliable. I was like, wow, look at that thing. It's getting me. Like, it was slow with my settings, but it wasn't hunting, so I thought, at least. So when Flat Earth Santa said, you want the S1? I was like, you know what? That autofocus was good enough. And I know it doesn't have a flippy screen, but just a little mirror hack, that'd be the ultimate. It would be my first full-frame camera. I was like, I could do it as a flippy hack. Life. Using it, however, in the real world, I began to get itchy in my blood. It would not autofocus right. I had a Sigma lens instead of the Panasonic designed one, ultimate lens. So it was a Sigma 45mm 2.8, and that was hunting. And I was noticing, I was like, oh, this isn't quite as good as the S1H was. I remember taking it out for the first time. I put it on some bleachers and I was like, okay, can you get me? It's probably good enough. It wasn't. It hunted a lot and I got a lot of guff in the comment sections like, oh God, that Panasonic. I was like, no, it's my penny boy now. It's fine. Don't you touch my penny boy. I tried to make it work and some companies were offering me lenses for the system. I was like, okay, we can do this. And that 20mm Tony 2, that was a fantastic lens, but it was so heavy compared to the Sony 20mm 1.8. It was 3 times as heavy. Don't quote me on that. Don't look it up. It was so heavy and manual focus with no flippy screen. I was like, where would I make this work in my life? And then he gave us the X-T4. And our Fuji hearts have never been the same. In fact, what you're witnessing right now is most likely the Fuji Eterna profile of life. We can steal it. I'm using that on the Sony now. Forget the Sony LUTs. I don't need yellow skin. I can get jaundice on my own with my high-fat diet. I'll do that. But now that the S5 is out, and it has the flippy screen, it's much lighter. It has basically all the features the S1 had. It's basically the same camera, only better in every way, but cheaper somehow, and lighter. It's like, you did a fantastic job here, Panasonic, and you did improve the autofocus to where it's usable. It's watchable, but it's not finessed. You'll notice it. It hurts you. But for the most part, it doesn't lose you. In fact, it's given me a newfound appreciation from a Panasonic G9 that I almost gave to one of you hobos. Thank God I pulled that offer off the table. What a fantastic camera. It looks good. Comparing it, I did that color science video the other day. I think this one shined more than it should have. I got the Olympus lens. We'll do a little vlog with the fisheye. I don't think I've ever tried a vlog with the fisheye on the G9. Can you imagine? So looking at all these cameras that I've been gifted, like which one would I give away? Probably the Samsung. If I get a sob story, sad enough, email me, vegetablepolice@gmail.com. If you live in Toronto and you're desperate for the NX1, you know its limitations, but you need it in your life and you're using a camcorder that your mother, we know what she does with it. Where are you? Panasonic better be tracking the top of my head. Oh, it was. Comes with the battery grip, extra battery, but just know that it's rough. This is how the guy gave it to me. It's rough in the grip area. Oh, god damn you, Panasonic. Oh, you're a piece of shit. Like, this grip is all rubbing off. This piece actually comes right off. It's barely on there. So know that you're getting a scrub-ass machine, but it's fantastic. I hate to give it up, but I would prefer the Sony a7 III, which I have, and the XT4. So it's like, spread the love a little bit. Tell me your story. Email it. I will kill you. So the reason I ended up selling the Panasonic S1 and all the lenses was because I was looking through B&H at the lenses currently for the L-mount system, and I was just thinking, like, what could I get? What's on the horizon? And just knowing that the autofocus would not perform right, there wasn't a lot. Let's take a look. Okay, what you're looking at right now is just a little search on B&H L-mount lenses with autofocus, wide to standard, and they're alphabetized in price. Shut your mouth. I knew how to say that in English. So the first lens we have is the one I had, and that does not autofocus right. It had a pretty glorious look. There wasn't much tone. Not enough, if you're being real with yourself. It was good enough, kind of. It was terrible. So when Flat Earth Santa said, you want the S1? That's yours, buddy. That's yours, take it to the bank. I came here looking at lenses. What could I buy? Because I knew all these Leica lenses were off the table. And Penny Boy didn't have much. So it was Sigma that I was looking at. And that was the cheapest lens. So I was like, okay, I could get that. I just mentioned the lens. I was like, okay, I could buy that 45. He's like, I'll give it to you. I got one. I'll give it. It's yours. So generous. So I got it. It was terrible. The worst gift I've ever received. But looking up, 35mm 1.4. That was not designed for, you can see the mount in it. That black shiny part is the mount conversion table. Look up table. $700. And it's not wide enough, really? 35mm? I wanted something wide. So let's see if they have one. Sigma 50mm? That's even less wide. Wow. Sigma 24. There's your lens. That would be it. But I was thinking in the back of my mind, that's not going to autofocus well. I've seen a 2.8 struggle. Why would a 1.4 do better? It wouldn't. That thing struggles sometimes on the Canons. The 6D Mark II, I've seen those videos. It's hunting. The Sigma 20mm, that's a magical lens, but it struggles in autofocus, and it's heavy as hell. Kind of pricey too, but you would put up with it. But it's way too heavy, you couldn't take it anywhere. The 28mm, it's not quite wide enough. What are we right now? Panasonic gives you the millimeters. Let's do 28. That's 28. It's an awkward focal length, like a teenager just getting, nope. The 40mm, that ain't wide enough. Sigma 14 to 24, it's a 2.8. A little pricey. How much does that thing weigh? 795 grams. Although B&H is never accurate here. You cannot trust this. Double source it. You got to do your own research outside this. There's so many cameras on here. I bet you the Z6 Mark II still has the same weight. Yeah, they still have the Z6 listed as 615. That's without the battery. You dickhead. You can't shoot without a battery. It's really 675, so that site is lies. They lie hard. But that would probably be the lens that I would choose. The Sigma 14, that would be a fun lens. 14mm on the wide end. It's just, would it keep you? The Sigma lenses make me nervous for autofocus. And then you got their Pro lens, but that's a f4. Ow, that hurts. And no stabilization in it, it'd probably be okay. But man, $1,500 for a Tony 4? Are you kidding yourself? And here's where your dreams start to die. We're getting into 1500, 35 mil, 1.2. That thing's a giant. 14 mil, 1.8. That sounds so glorious, but that would never hold your autofocus ass. How much does that weigh? 15 pounds? 1170? How? I didn't even think lenses went that high. It looked so small. I was actually joking when I said that. It was probably light. That bulbous ass front piece. Baby got front. The 50 mil, that's probably the best lens they have. $2,300. And it's giant. Heavier than Canon's 1.2, I think. It scares me. And then you get into the Leica lenses that start at $5,000. We're not even gonna look at those, just for jokes. Nothing wide. Where's the wide? The 16 to 35, a 3.5 to 4.5 kit lens for $6,000. What the hell? That's why their whole mount, it's not a team of buddies. It's a team of people that want to kill each other. Bottom line here, for the Alliance, the Leica lenses are way too expensive and heavy and stupid. The Panasonic lens is amazing, but also heavy and expensive, and nothing wide that's fun. Sigma, there's your ghetto glass that won't autofocus well because Panasonic is working on some milkshake shit. I've seen milk autofocus faster than a Panasonic. I've seen it. I've seen the studies. And it's like, Sigma, they're handicapped. It's like, what are you going to do? You're asking to focus on a Panasonic camera. It's like, oh, can you draw this? I just want this dark, shady alleyway with black smoke coming out and the guy's wearing black, and but make the details. Everything's black, but I want to see the separation details of everything. And there's fog. But I will say they're closer now with this S5. It's convinced me that you could get away with it. It's somewhat usable. For the most part, you just make a video like this, nobody's going to say anything. It's like, okay. It's just when you know what you're looking for. I'm basically constantly out of focus. It's just constantly guessing and moving. It's annoying to me, but most people don't notice it. We will still go outside and do a little test. Have a little fun before we give her back. Technically, if you went to a manual focus only lens, there's not much. There's an 11mm 2.8. It's probably trash though. That's a fisheye. That's not going to work. 14mm f4. That could hurt. That could hurt the optics. And there's nothing wider than that. Oh, Laowa. 11. Laowa's obsessed with way too wide glass. Get your shit together, Laowa. Make a normal wide lens. Freak. 9mm? Like, what are you going to do with that thing? I want it. Does someone have one? Are they sending it? 58, 50. Yeah, there's nothing. That's the thing. Nobody's making lenses for this system because they know it's going to fail. Panasonic's going to be out of business. They're going to be making a G10 any second now. They already made one. That's unfortunate numbering for you. You're a moron. That's Panasonic way of life. I'm going to leave. So email me. You have to live in Toronto for this NX1. I'm not shipping it. That means I have to go buy a box, get packing, and then get an estimation just to get a ballpark figure that you have to pay, and then you'll have to pay a customs fee. You'll be like, oh no, I'm paying for this. So, Toronto hobos only. YouTuber, hopefully you're using a camcorder right now. Let's do this. Alright, I'm gonna leave. Thanks for buying it. Subscribe for more videos.